I'm human, and I've made some huge mistakes with intermittent fasting. Over the last decade, I've learned a lot, but honestly, even in the last year, I realized I could massively refine how I fast to get way more out of it metabolically, immunologically, and even from a gut health standpoint. And before we go deeper, if you're into fasting, drop a quick comment for the algorithm. It genuinely helps push these videos out. YouTube runs on engagement, so just say hello, share your experience, and I do read a lot of them. And if you haven't already, subscribe for daily content. Now, when you fast, your body doesn't just burn fat. Your immune system actually shifts states. Some immune cells enter a low activity conservation mode, often described as immune hibernation. Also, energy intensive inflammatory activity decreases. That's critical because inflammation can reduce things like citrulline, and citrulline is important for the heart because there is a connection with the heart and your immune system, which is a whole nother rabbit hole for a different video. So by fasting more, you're reducing inflammation. So therefore allowing citrulline, which is one of the cofactors for arginine, for the heart and also for the immune system. And the body also reallocates resources toward repair, autophagy, and cellular cleanup while you're fasting. Then, when you break a fast, immune cells, they actually wake up. And then immune function can rebound with improved responsiveness, especially after adequate nutrient refeeding. This is why how you break a fast matters as much as the fast itself. And this connects directly to gut biology as well. Because inside the gut, you don't just have bacteria, you have microbiome communities and biofilms, which can be extremely problematic. I've made some other biofilm videos, so if you feel free to watch those, you can go ahead and watch those. But biofilms are a protective bacterial mattress, and during fasting, biofilms may temporarily thin or reorganize, which is critical for nutrient absorption because biofilms are known for sequestering nutrients. Also, during fasting, mucosal secretions decrease and nutrient flow stops. And now, for the rest of the video, is the more technical aspects of fasting. Also, during fasting, nutrient flow stops, which changes bacterial behavior, and some bacteria reduce metabolic activity. Others shift towards survival states that can alter gut signaling. When you refeed, or in other words, break a fast, biofilms can rapidly rethicken, which can be very problematic. Also, and some research has stated that biofilms can be extremely difficult to break, which again it just is beyond the scope of this video. So when you refeed, bacteria also re-engages in nutrient capture. Some biofilms may temporarily sequester nutrients more aggressively. This is why first meals, or the meal that you take when you break your fast, can strongly influence gut inflammation, permeability, and support, and comfort. So yes, your first meal after fasting isn't just food. It's a microbial and immune system reactivation signal, which is the food itself. This is where foods like collagen, bone broth, and glutamine can matter because they support gut barrier repair and mucosal integrity during that transition window. This is because the gut barrier gets weaker during your fast. So that's why you have to eat the right foods at the end of your fast or when you break your fast. Okay, now the first mistake number one that I've been making over the years is not eating enough eggs because they are nutrient dense. One of my biggest mistakes, as well as without eggs, or without getting enough eggs, is not getting enough of bioavailable amino acids because the immune system needs amino acids. So all these years, my immune system has been suffering. So eggs, they provide amino acids. Eggs are actually a complete protein profile, and then fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K, a choline for brain and liver function, believe it or not, but there is a connection with your brain and your immune system as well, which is beyond the scope of this video. And then eggs provide strong micronutrient density per calorie. The problem wasn't eggs themselves, it was the timing. I would fast through the morning and then break my fast later and mentally erase eggs because they felt like a breakfast food. But biologically, your body doesn't care what time it is. It cares about nutrient density per feeding window. Okay, on to mistake number 2 was making fasting too normal. So skipping breakfast became my default, and that's where fasting drops or stops being a stressor and starts becoming a lifestyle rut. Fasting should be a hormetic shock, not a permanent default, because when it becomes normal, metabolic adaptation increases, stress response blunts, and then the benefits diminish. So autophagy is going to suffer. If the benefits diminish, also the immune system benefits also diminish as well, because autophagy it does have effects or has benefits for the immune system. So if the fasting benefits diminish, then so do the immune system benefits as well. So I started alternating. Skip breakfast one day, skip dinner another day. That variability is key. So mistake number 3 was chronic low calories and then low protein, because this led to a metabolic slowdown. This is one of the biggest long-term fasting mistakes, because chronic undereating leads to decreased training output, which means less ability to build a muscle, reduced basal metabolic rate, and lower energy flux. Now, the problem with less muscle or less muscle mass is that if someone was to be diagnosed with cancer, then the cancer would eat away at them much quicker or much faster because there would be less muscle mass on the human being. So that's why chronic undereating can be problematic for anyone looking to avoid cancer. So the key is not fasting itself, it's not recovering properly from the fast. So you must eat enough calories on feeding days, maintain adequate protein intake, which is also great for the immune system, and avoid chronic energy suppression. Otherwise, body composition actually worsens over time. Mistake number 4, doing cardio on fasting days instead of resistance training. I used to think fasted plus doing cardio or doing cardio while fasted means maximum fat loss. And yes, fasted cardio increases fat oxidation, but I neglected something more important: muscle preservation signals. On fasting days, resistance training sends anabolic retention signals. Muscle stress increases post-exercise fat oxidation, and then metabolic rate stays higher long term. Whereas excessive cardio on fasted days can increase muscle loss risk and then reduce recovery capacity. Now, that's not good for someone that needs to pack enough muscle mass on their body, because as I said earlier about the cancer metastasis, so the priority shifts. Resistance training instead of cardio during fasting phases. So mistake number 5 was ignoring parasympathetic balance. I lived too long in fight or flight fasting mode. Fasting increases adrenaline, sympathetic nervous system activity, and alertness and perceived energy. But if you never downshift, recovery suffers, stress adaptation flattens, and then fasting benefits diminish over time. Again, losing the immune system benefit if the autophagy benefit is also lost. So you need balance. Fasting equals sympathetic activation, and then feeding with recovery, parasympathetic restoration. Without both, the system stops responding strongly. Mistake number 6 was ignoring micronutrition, which was the hidden cramp problem. For years, I wasn't getting enough micronutrients during fasting cycles. So that led to cramping, recovery issues, and low resilience. It wasn't just protein, it was missing minerals, enzymes, and phytonutrients. Now I focus on nutrient dense whole foods, occasional multivitamin support, and then protein blends like whey and plant based blends. I've also used products like Sun Warrior Active Protein. Sun Warrior happens to be one of my favorite protein companies because it adds enzymes, probiotics, and blended amino acids, which immune cells, they need amino acids. So it's not about replacing food, it's about filling gaps during constrained eating windows. Now, the next mistake, number 7, is probably one of the biggest mistakes that I've made over the years, which is gut barrier integrity during fasting breaks. Because during fasting, mucosal layer can temporarily weaken. Tight junctions in the gut loosen slightly, and then permeability increases transiently. Tight junctions are responsible for keeping the vitamins absorbed. So if those junctions are loose, then that leads to vitamin deficiencies. So that means the first meal when you break your fast matters a lot. So some better refeed options would be collagen, bone broth, and gut support amino acids like glutamine. This helps reduce inflammatory response during gut reactivation. So on to mistake number 8 was overcomplicating fasts, such as coffee, supplements, or dirty fasting. I used to layer fasting with coffee, supplements, various metabolic hacks, but I realized something. Too many inputs equals diminished fasting signal clarity. Sometimes I now just do water-only fasting or occasional caffeine-free fasting windows. Even rare extended fasts, like 16 to 18 hours without intake, can sharpen the physiological response. And fasting mistake, the last one, is ignoring strength with energy as the true metric. The biggest signal I ignored was declining strength and energy over time. That tells you more than fat loss ever will. If strength drops and then energy drops week after week, then fasting is too aggressive. So adjust, eat more, or fast less. And a bonus tip, which is actually a hack, one useful hack I learned was glycerol before long fasts can improve cellular hydration, increase water retention in muscle tissue, and support endurance hydration status. Some endurance athletes use it for hyperhydration strategies. Used properly, it can improve fasting comfort significantly. This glycerol trick is one that I didn't know for many years. Fasting is powerful, but only when it respects immune system dynamics, gut biofilm behavior, metabolic recovery cycles, nutrient density timing, and nervous system balance. When you get those aligned, fasting stops being just a tool for fat loss and becomes a full system for metabolic and immune optimization. As always, keep it locked here, and I'll see you tomorrow.